As of today, this Sunday, January the 21st, it is 289 days until the election. January 20th. Next January 20th of next year is the inauguration. I mean, this is beyond crunch. This is so scary. It's not even funny, but you would never know that to listen to the cacophony of yammering, bleating babies talking about things that are really of no concern to anybody, including us. Very, very simple. Today, we're going to talk about a very, very simple question. Does Trump have the killer instinct to finish the shadow government off once and for all? Do you hear what I'm saying? Now, people, of course, will say, well, of course he does. Really? Of course he does. Really? You sure about that? You sure about that? You know Trump? You sure about this, right? I know that everybody today loves this talk about MMA and fighting and killing people. But do you know what that means? The killer instinct to be brutal, to be savage, to be ruthless, to finish off the enemy, to be like Sherman, to be so horrid. It completely defies your natural instinct to kind of get along and don't leave everybody. Don't decimate everyone. Don't. Is that it? Is that the story? We're going to be talking about that, dear friends. And we're also going to be talking about a lot of other critical things. But before we begin, let me just tell you something right now. I'm to say I'm getting excited. I hate that word excited. But on February the 3rd, I'm going to be hitting the stage at the cutting room. And I cannot wait because as much as I love this is great. This is not the interaction I get because I don't get people listening. This is a wonderful, and by the way, there's the link. It's on the description section. It's everywhere. This is the link to the cutting room. Tickets are available right now. Get them cheaper than at the door. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. And in as much as I love this, I love talking to you, I love doing all these things, there's this other part that makes me say, well, I appreciate this, but I need human interaction. I need to hear people reacting at that moment and to provide questions while we speak on cards that are presented. Nobody does this. Nobody does this. I can't. They always say, well, we're going to save question and answers. Sometimes it's in the middle of it. Sometimes somebody will bring up something which is so terrific. And what I want to tell you is that I know the subject. This isn't something I prepare for. This is something I know every single day. It's a continuous thing. I don't prepare the joke. The joke prepares us. And no, I have no idea what that means. Now let's get down to brass tacks. I don't know if Trump has the killer instinct to really be ruthless and brutal. One of the problems that we have, many of us have, when trying to deal with and address the issue of what Israel's doing. We forget that throughout history, when generals, when armies, when people went in to attack the enemy, they laid waste. They just destroyed every last human being available. It was brutal. This was the history of warfare. You don't go in and say, okay, I've wounded you enough, right? That's enough. In boxing, it's to knock out your opponent. It's not to win by points. It's to knock them out, to cause a concussion, to knock somebody out. You're concussing the head. This is what war is. It's if you ever hear Patton, George Patton, that we love so much, talk about what was it the Third Army? I forget what he did to Germany. It's brutal. It's to teach somebody a lesson. It's also to decimate them, to destroy them, to destroy everything there is about this person. Everything there is to destroy them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you follow it? Do you get it? Can you do that? Most people can't. Most people can't. Much of what Trump's problem was, he never went in and did the enemy in. He should have absolutely just concussed Hillary, if for no other reason than to teach her and them a lesson. But he didn't. He's a nice guy. He doesn't understand yet. He didn't know how these people were. I hope he knows now. I hope he knows now because, oh, come on. Excuse me. I'm not one who likes to sit there and talk about being brutal. And, there are a lot of little boys out there who love this MMA stuff. They love this. They love it. They love choking people and they love acting tough. And I understand it. But it's a little boy thing. And it's something that I think it's because the whole notion of what masculine has been so lost. People hyper stylize it, but Trump has to do the following. First, he must terrify people. He doesn't terrify them at all. He pisses people off. He annoys them. He doesn't terrify them. It's kind of like, oh, here comes Trump again. Okay. He has to terrify people. And there's something which I've got to tell you something which is important to be said. When you see Putin and he sits and he never raises his voice, nothing. The closest I don't watch him all the time, but there was this one instance where he went to factory owners and he says, how come you're closed? How come we got to open now? And he says, who's in charge here? And at one point he says, did you sign this agreement? No. So he takes a pen out and he goes like that, here, sign it. And they're terrified of him. And the guy signs it. He says, give me my pen back. It's my pen. I mean, he just went in for the kill. I mean, Xi Jinping scares the hell out of people. Scares them. In fact, he has one face. I don't think he's ever smiled. I don't know. They're very serious. I mean, you never ever, we have this very, jocular, even Nixon had that fake, remember the phony smile and this and all that. That's not our thing. We don't look tough. We don't have that. John Kennedy, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, always that smiling. It comes across as weakness to the rest of the world. Putin has this one arm, which I think his right, he swings his left, but his right stays put. They said this is KGB days or FSB. I don't know. But it's this great way of walking. He's very serious. He doesn't fool around. And he has this look on his face of, don't mess with me. Erdogan, Turkey, don't even think about it. Don't. Remember Salameh, whatever, the Iranian general? Did you ever see any of the Arab leaders smile? Hey, how are you? Hey, Ayatollah, how are you? Never, never. It's stoic. It's serious. That's what we need. We have this yuck. Hey, let's go to Iowa and eat a corn dog. Let's be Nikki Haley. Let's smile and ingratiate ourselves. This is my family. Here we are. Here's my pet dog. Here's our dog. Hey, there's Obama. Look, he's playing basketball. No. Here's Trump playing golf in the most unattractive clothes anybody has ever seen. He comes across like a joke. He wants to play. Look at me, I'm playing golf. Really? Oh, I would change this immediately. You have a suit back and forth, that's it. Get rid of this crew, get rid of Jared, get rid of Don Jr., and I want you to scare the shite out of these people. Scare them. And you have to say, there's a new guy in town. I'm on the back nine. I'm on the last hole of the back nine. I'm not going to be around for a lot longer, actuarially speaking. So I don't have time to fool around. When he wins, he has no inauguration. Go right to the office. Symbolic. I don't have time for this. I want to scare people. He has no killer instinct. None. He doesn't know what to do. He talks garbage. Tim Scott. Hey, Tim, what is this joke? Tim Scott, get rid of him. Go to your pretend girlfriend and get the hell out of here. Elise Stefanik, what is this about? She did one thing. Harvard. Claudette Gay. Thank you. Who gives a rat's ass about that? What is this? What is going on here? Ben Carson. Ben Carson's quiet. He's black. Who cares? I don't think anybody cares. But whatever. If that means anything. He's quiet. He's not going to steal the limelight. And if need be, to take over, I think he's serious. I think a neurosurgeon's pretty good, don't you? Remember the expression, what are you, a brain surgeon? You don't have to be a rocket scientist. Well, he's a brain surgeon. I think he's got the mental wherewithal, and that's it. Now, the next thing which has to be done, which is so critical, the president has to come on and tell you something. And he has to be very specific with you. And I think you'll appreciate it. He says, folks, let me explain something to you. Hollywood. Well, Washington is Hollywood. It's a Potemkin village. It's a backlot. It's a Spawn Ranch. It symbolizes what you think your government is. But let me tell you something. If you think these clowns in Congress are running the show, you're out of your mind. They do nothing. They do nothing. They're the guy at the bar who polishes the glasses. There's the ones who, did you ever see at these, like in a Alain Ducasse restaurant, they iron the tablecloth. Iron it. Excuse me, where's the food? I'm not done with the iron. I don't want to iron. I don't know. Do you ever go to an Alain Ducasse restaurant? He brings you, when it comes time to sign the check, he brings you like a cigar humidor of pens. Like very expensive pen. You like this pen? You like that pen? All this nonsense. How's the food? The hell with the pens. Here's some foam. Remember that Boulay, the gastronomy with the foam? What is this crap? I want to eat. Let's get down to brass tacks. Enough with this fluff and this. What is this? Stop it. Stop it. And Trump's got to come on and say, let me explain something to you. There's a group of people out there who are planning and doing things you know nothing about. I'm going to have a secret government. I'm going to have an advisory committee you're not going to know anything about. Did you hear me? You're not going to know anything about these people. Let me give you an example of something. Okay? And this is little old me. Little old me. I remember a while back in December of 2019, I went on, I don't know how many shows I came up with. I found this, and I'm not even. It was something that they were going to use. It's called on-patient storage of vaccination history. And what they were going to do is they were going to be using these vaccine Remember in the old days, the tuberculosis, there was like a TB test, I don't even know if they do that anymore, but they go like this and then you know, they pull it out and there's red marks. Anyway, MIT had this article that says many vaccines require multiple doses spaced out at certain intervals. Without accurate records, people may not receive all of the necessary doses. The method is still in an experimental stage and is being used for any current. It is not being used for any current vaccines. They clarify this. But every year, a lack of vaccine leads to about 1.5 million preventable deaths, primarily in developing countries. Why is that? How are no vaccines deaths of what? So MIT researchers have developed a new way of recording a patient's vaccination history, storing the data in a pattern of dye invisible to the naked eye that is delivered under the skin at the same time of the vaccine. What is this called? A nanobot. And what this is, it's a new dye. It consists of nanocrystals called quantum dots that remain for at least 5 years under the skin, where it emits near infrared light and can be detected by a specially equipped smartphone. So what it does is it's called on-patient decentralized medical records. And the researchers developing a new type of quantum-based, copper-based quantum dots, which emit light in near-infrared spectrum. The dots are about 4 nanometers in diameter, but they are encapsulated in biocompatible microparticles that form spheres about 20 microns in diameter, and you put them in your thing, and that's it, and it's the greatest thing in the world. Now, why is that? The reason is because the deep state, police state, shadow government, ruling class, whoever these people are, they love keeping track of you. And they love digitizing everything. Your money, your whereabouts, your name, your information, everything. Currency in particular. CBDC, central bank digital currency, among others. They love this. And they've always loved technology. Do you remember this? Do you remember? There was a book called, this is IBM. And this is an article I read. This is from The Guardian. This came out in 2002. Newly discovered documents from Hitler's Germany prove that the computer company IBM directly supplied the Nazis with technology, which was used to help transport millions of people to their deaths in the concentration camps in Auschwitz and Treblinka. And this is according to a book from this one thing. Why? They love keeping track. They love, these ghouls love technology, and they love keeping track. They love serializing, from tattoos to RFID chips to the mark of the beast to nanodots. If there's one thing they love, it's that. And they tell you this. They absolutely tell you. Here's something else which is very interesting. Did you know that, again, this is MIT news. Very simple. They don't hide it. MIT engineers designed more powerful RNA vaccines. There's a new approach, by the way, led to an intranasal spray for COVID-19 and other respiratory diseases. This is RNA, not mRNA, RNA. They tell you specifically. And this is going on as we speak. And nothing's stopped. Nothing's changed. You're worried. You're thinking about, oh, I got masks. And no. So what Trump's got to do is Trump has to say, I have 4 to 5 different committees who advise me. And you're not going to know who they are, out of safety for them and their families and everybody else. You're not, because I could talk to anybody I want to. And I'm telling you, there are things going on in this country that you know nothing about. And if you consider those bastards in Congress, specifically the Republicans, Jim Jordan, and everybody, to be looking out for you, you're out of your mind. You're more stupid than I thought. You're more stupid than I thought if you think these people are doing anything to look out for you. Okay? Do you understand? Do I make myself clear? And there's a new sheriff in town. And we're not done with this yet. We are not even done. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense? I hope it does. I hope it makes a lot of sense to you. Because this is a whole new world, a brand new world. And it's a very scary place. The president has to have one of the things he has to have is he has to have a division for food security and the like. Since the beginning of time, since canning, smoking, preparing, a lot of times people did it because they didn't have refrigeration, because you had to salt things. Mankind, if you watch a squirrel with his nuts, storing them to get them later, this is the most critical investment right now. Because remember the big three: food, water, and energy. This is it. This is the most important. And we need to make people aware of this because they want to catch you flat footed. Because if you're flat footed, if you're caught off guard, you'll panic, you'll freak. They want destabilization. They want you in the street, they want you rioting, they want you panicking. And that's why you must now pay attention to preparewithlionel.com. 2024, as I have stated and predicted, will be contentious, scary, and promises to blow your mind. It'll make 2023 look like a walk in the park because the folks who run the show live for chaos and instability and panic. Your panic. Now, many of our problems could be solved overnight, but that defeats the purpose. Destabilization and chaos, that's the name of the game. Now, if you can handle the truth, and I know you can, you need to visit my website, preparewithlionel.com. Write this down, preparewithlionel.com. You'll get $200 off a much needed and absolute best selling 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. Now, listen carefully. This is the country's largest preparedness company. My Patriot Supply is your fighting chance at survival. And I don't use that word lightly, survival. Sealed inside 6 water-resistant buckets, these delicious meals, 22 varieties of tasty breakfasts, lunches, dinners, snacks, you name it, last up to 25 years and provide over 2,000 calories per day. And we're talking 120 pounds of food. Eat right in emergencies with this 3-month food kit from My Patriot Supply. At this low price, you can get one for everyone in your family. Think about this. This is critical. So visit preparewithlionel.com right now. Order by 3 p.m. for free same-day shipping. Prepare right now at preparewithlionel.com. One more time. Go to preparewithlionel.com before chaos ensues. We were and I was looking before. There are some wonderful people out there who do some really terrific stuff, and I think they're to be commended. They're in the world of this that we do, and they have been around, and they, God bless them, they at least propound and promote alternative thinking and alternative foci, so to speak, of awareness and the like, and they're to be commended. And the thing you must begin, if I was a president, I would be having, and he must do this, he doesn't talk to people enough. The dumbest thing that he has ever done, the dumbest, number one, is he has never used the ability of, he likes Truth Social, which is an amateurish, oftentimes a very simple, childish means and platform of bleating and arguing and screaming, and it's wonderful, but it comes across in capital letters, and sometimes words are misspelled. It's okay. He's got to speak to people, and he's got to remind people of something. The test of a first-rate intelligence is his ability to hold 2 opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. This is what Scott Fitzgerald said. You've got to be able to handle multiple things simultaneously. Okay? And apparently, some people cannot. Now, there are some people who are experts If you want to know everything there is about Israel and Hamas, listen to Max Blumenthal, but that's all you're going to get. That is it. 100%. And that's fine. It's like a Mexican restaurant. You're going to get Mexican food 100% of the time. And that's what's to be expected. But while he's very good at that, you cannot live only on, you know, Israel news or it's not enough. And you also have to understand that if you're just getting the same, if you're if you're hearing constantly how evil Israel is, if that's all you're hearing, you're missing the point, because I want to know, tell me what Israel's thinking. Why did they think like this? This is a brutal savagery, for lack of a better word, which I think needs to be focused on and invoked. Now, another thing too is you have to understand the president's going to say that you only take flack when you're over the target. You're only going to get grief from people when you're saying something that matters. You're going to be called a conspiracy theorist and all kinds of crazy names. Barry Taylor says, "I'm not anti-vaccine, but they have obviously weaponized them, not unlike the weather manipulation." Well, Barry, I appreciate that. Thank you for your kindness. This is even the wrong term. Anti-vaccine? No, no. It's anti-control or anti-application of something. I've never been against, Barry, hypodermic syringes. They're important. If you want to have anything administered, either IM or IV, you need a needle. And you need this. They work great. It's what's in there that matters. If anybody's ever had propofol delivered, you thank God for propofol. The best way to deliver propofol is through a needle, through an injection, through some type of IV. I've got no problem with vaccines. I've got no problem with them. Immunology works. I've got no problem with guns, how the gun is used. So we have to even get away from this. We just dismiss this anti-vax. That's their words, not ours. It's their word. Nobody's even discussing. I'm not talking about what's about vaccines. It's what's in the vaccine. It's what it's used for. I can do a number of things. Number one, I can use the vaccine itself to keep track of you by forcing you to have this, so that a lot of people might say, look, I don't give a damn one way or the other whether you get the vaccine or not, but I do want the control of you always having to prove where you're going. I want the ability for you to have onboard recordation devices and papers. I want to limit your control. I want to limit what you see, what you think, where you go, whom you're with, and what information you see. And more importantly, I want to control your ability to speak. I want to make sure that you cannot say certain things. Last night, I could not believe what I was hearing. Excuse me, I got a scratch here, an itch. I could not believe what I was talking about when I was mentioning deep fakes. And some of you fine people said that yes, an AI generated child sexual abuse material, CSAM uh, uh, depiction should be prohibited because it leads to addictive thoughts. It's like, but it's not real. Yes, but it's terrible, but it's not real. There's no child. You never, ever, ever, either I have the ability to speak or not. You can't say, well, you're going to say certain things that I don't think are troubling. No. You don't give the government the ability to say, okay, you can do, as long as it's not troubling. Excuse me, troubling? What do you mean troubling? What are you talking about troubling? No. Troubling. So I've got to re-educate us. We're using the wrong term. Anti-vax. No. And these people who jump to the conclusion, I know people who, they're not alone. They're not alone in saying that they're anti-vax or whatever. They're saying that Bill Gates is part of he wants to introduce nanotechnology, and he wants eugenics, and they're going through all this stuff, and they just enjoy. It's like, wait a minute, whoa. Take this easy. People sometimes love the fervor of the crowd. They love what we say. There are people who come over to our side, so to speak, and they just love to wave their flags and oh my God, they love to talk. But listen, better that than not to think that way. Remember the words of Eric Bren. Remember the guy on Ed Sullivan with the guy with the plate and spinning the plates. You've got to be able to handle multiple ideas constantly. So many different, and some of them are different. Some plates are going this way, some plates are going that way. Remember that little lies need to be protected, but the big ones are protected by public incredulity. One of the reasons why, let me explain to you what's happening. This is very interesting to know. When the original stories came out, when the original stories came out about Hamas, they were talking about doing things to children and women that were just beyond anything I've ever even heard. They were that beheadings, throwing babies into ovens, rapes, multiple rapes and mutilation, rapes and amputation, rapes and if you believe what Max Blumenthal and others have suggested, virtually all of that has been either debunked or not proved at all. What you're missing is that when I create a situation that is so barbaric and you show any incredulity, you will be chastised as being some kind of a cruel conspiracy theorist. How dare you? How dare you even suggest that this isn't possible or real? Excuse me. Just because somebody said, excuse me, we're talking about mutilation. No, they're talking about mutilation. Remember these stories? Remember these this evidence that's well, I saw this. What did you see exactly? A lot of that has been deliberately debunked. Now, that's not my subject of expertise, but what this proves is people will continue this because the story is so horrible that you would not want to be the first person to say, I can't debunk this. Same thing with 9/11. 9/11. If you say, let me just explain something to you. Building 7 at 5:20 p.m. was not hit by anything, and it fell in his footprint at free fall speeds after not being hit by anything. This makes no sense whatsoever, and the arguments put forth by NIST, as far as carpet fires and things, is ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense. It wasn't even hit by. It's not even jet fuel. It wasn't hit by anything. Now, what I just told you is the truth. But people will sometimes be, how dare you even question the official narrative? Why? Because of incredulity. That certain lies are easy to keep because people are so incredibly frightened to even dare question it. Speech is the monetary unit of the 21st century. You will pay for expression. It will be the new NFT, the new currency of the time. You will pay. You will pay for this. And what Trump has to do is Trump has to say some very important things. First and foremost, he has to come forward and say, can you tell me why in our country, China and other people, and apparently it is alleged through the auspices and through the various organizations and corporations of Bill Gates, why are these groups and these people, why are they involved in what appears to be a concerted effort in buying millions of acres of property directly surrounding military bases? How is this happening? Say what you want about Ron DeSantis, but at least he's making some attempt at preventing China from doing this. Trump has to come out and tell you on his own, sitting at his desk with his own Trump channel, why are we doing this? I want you to pick up the phone right now and call the following numbers. This is what Trump's going to do. I want you to call Jim Jordan and Josh Hawley da, 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 and blah, blah, and call these people and call Ocasio-Cortez and ask her, why aren't you doing something about SB2, HR1, whatever it is, to get people involved? They're doing this. This is a bill, by the way. This which would involve and necessarily include a means of protection of our sovereignty against. Try going to China. Try going to China and buying millions of acres of land directly surrounding their military bases. Try doing it. Try any country doing that. Why is that going on here? So we want you to call. We're going to be like one of Trump's armies. He involves you. Pick up the phone and call. Don't email them because they'll ignore them. Pick up the phone. Because, and this is true, Mrs. Ellis told you this, they will write down the names of and make the phones go crazy. And then report back. And then he'll come back and say, I'm receiving messages that when people are calling the switchboards, nobody's answering. And here are these people. They're not. You've got to call them out. The biggest fraud in the world is this Potemkin Village, this thing called Washington. It's not doing anything for anybody. You have to explain this. And by the way, it's not, remember something. It's not that China are bad people. They're doing what they can to protect China. We are doing doing things to protect us. We steal from them as well. Now, folks, if you want to talk about misinformation, disinformation, bad information, pre-bunking, basically setting up something ahead of time to be destroyed, we are right now in an information warfare. And we have to take what Elon Musk, and I have appointed Elon Musk on a very important committee. And Elon Musk set the stage. Social media platforms are the means by which people speak to members of the world, to each other, and they are critical in maintaining some form of chance to be spoken to and about and at and what have you. That's why it is critical, beyond critical. It is necessary for us to understand something very, very simple. And it works like this. The government cannot weaponize speech and use social media as proxies. This has to be done immediately. I know a little bit about this. This is going on right now. We want you to call so-and-so. This is what's going on. And Trump's got to come forward and tell you everything. Trump has got to do things that he's never done before because Trump loves low-hanging fruit more than anybody. Trump has to say, listen, I know this is important to you. I know Bill Ackman thinks it's important. He's got problems with his wife and the plagiarism. But believe me, Claudine Gay in Harvard, this doesn't exist anywhere on our level of importance. None. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. We don't care about this. That's not the issue. The issue is not whether somebody's talking about from the river to the sea. I don't even know what the hell that means. What we're talking about is something very, very simple. Something very, very simple. We're talking about your ability to hear the truth and to know what's going on in the world. And he's got to call people. He's got to let them know. The shadow government, the deep state, these are things which mean a lot. The truth has to be protected. Even Harvard twits. I mean, this is as Eric Weinstein calls it, kind of like this orchestrated Truman world. This is the end of conservatism as a concept, any valid meaning. We've got issues nobody's talking about. Hydro-imperialism, hydrology. Nobody's... Let me see if I can explain this to you. While we've been talking about Harvard and Claudine Gay, there are people talking about buying huge swaths of aquifers and underground water properties in what will amount to radicalized, weaponized hydro-imperialism and hydrology. Right now, we're looking at something called medical tyranny and medical martial law as we speak. What are you able to say no to? I call upon the Supreme Court in federal courts to do something about this, to address this, to green light cases that deal with this. What happens if I one time tell you that your child has hepatitis? And in order for us to prevent, and by the way, it's very, very virulent, very contagious, as you know this, Hep B, C, D, whatever it is. We're going to mandate by court order that your child takes the hepatitis vaccine and you as well. Again, a vaccine. When can you say no? Jacobson against Massachusetts is the case from 1905. 1905, Jacobson, 1905. And it doesn't deal with anything involving this. It deals with, if I can make a note of this, Jacobson. It deals with a person's ability to contest a fine. It was this. I think it was I think it was smallpox. He didn't want to take it because of the negative effects. Right now, my friends, I'm going to tell you something. Again, as your president, see, Trump's got to get right to us. This will freak everybody out because what does he do? He talks about bullshit. Pardon my French. I'm sorry. That's exactly what he does. He yammers on about stuff that doesn't matter because he likes being Trump. He's not the deepest of thinkers. He doesn't involve himself with 4D chess. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't. He's not there. But he better be, and better be real quick. And he's got to be able to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans, we have been bamboozled by this concept called NATO for the longest time. And I'm here to tell you, unless we do something about this now, we are forever going to be tethered to this organization that wants nothing more than to get in a war with Russia. And it's disgusting, and it's vile, and it's wrong. And we're going to put an end to this right now. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's wrong. Period. He needs to let people know this. This Russophobic, red-baiting, post-Boris and Natasha lunacy has got to end once and for all. I don't know how to say this any more than this. Election integrity? Nobody's talking about this. Border disintegration? Nobody's still done anything. Your current Congress, left and right, Democrat, Republican, does nothing. Let's bring in Mayorkas. I'll bring him in. Don't bring him in. Impeach him. Don't impeach him. Just move the deck chairs. Just do stuff. Border disintegration. This is being done on purpose. Election integrity. This is being destroyed on purpose. Gender lunacy, crypto gender tyranny. That's not going anywhere. There are people who just love this. And they love it for two reasons. Number one, because it causes destabilization. And number two, it drives you crazy. And they love to drive you crazy. By the way, the Great Reset. Great Reset is here. We have the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, Bilderberg, Davos, Mont Pelerin. We have BRICS plus 6, Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. We've got Russia versus Ukraine, Israel and Hamas. And most people in this country, seriously, are not able to really grasp the notion of what this even means. They don't even mean. Edge Dweller says everything is borrowed, never truly owned. We can have documents to say we have rights to different things. When social order breaks down, everything is fair game. Well, if you don't believe that, Edge, I think you're right about that. Ask how many Japanese Americans were involved in internment? Remember, there are different rules regarding concentration camps, death camps, gulags, internment camps, FEMA camps. If you don't think that's possible, humans love prisons. They love to control. The president needs to talk about this. I love when people say the Uniparty. The Uniparty. Wendell Willkie talked about the Uniparty, for God's sakes. They act like this is some new concept. I've been talking about this. This is the illusion of the left-right paradigm. This is Carol Quigley. This is old. Tragedy and Hope. I mean, we all know this. We have to understand the idea of abortion versus a constitution. Okay? This is a non-issue. and the notion of substantive due process. Now, how do I expect people to understand the concept of the Supreme Court if they don't even understand that? Section 230 in the CDA. It's got to be done something about that. Child predation, CSAM and AGI. Tell me, what are we going to do with that? How about the future of war? How about EMPs? Anybody want to talk about that? Electromagnetic pulse? Are we able to handle this? Hell no. Let me ask you a question. I watch, as you know, I spend a lot of time watching. One of my new favorite things is watching people arrested, specifically women and Karens who are frightening. Sparky says Trump still has way too much regard for the legacy media. Absolutely. Hear, hear. Sparky, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm sorry, you're right about that. Hear, hear. Trump is still from a time, from a level, this is a guy who was on Regis and Kathy Lee. I mean, I'm sorry. We are stuck sometimes. There's two things that people have. Number one, people are not able to understand. By the way, please subscribe to this channel. I can't say this enough. Subscribe. I hope you are. If you're not subscribed, and sometimes people, you got to check to make sure you're subscribed because people are unsubscribed. I want people to listen to what we're saying. I'm not. If you think I'm right, left, I'm not. I'm not. It has nothing to do with this. It's about the Constitution. It's about this republic. It's about I don't really care. Nikki Haley stopping people. I don't care about that. That's low hanging fruit. I don't care about that. It makes no difference. I have no interest in this whatsoever. It's not that. When you're in a hospital and somebody comes in with a heart attack, you don't weigh them. The guy's dying. Who cares how much they weigh? He's dying right now. Want to get a family history? He's dying. Do you hear what I'm saying? Get the paddles. Let's go. Come on. We got seconds to go. What are you talking about? We're in a triage world. We don't have time to worry about things like Nikki Haley and what? We love that because we're children. We love that because we're not able to handle critical thinking skills. To us, we're petty, and social media promotes that like you can't imagine. This is something this is so monumentally critical. Now, there's something which I hope we never talk about. I hope it never happens. This is a return to the usual. And this is something which is, I think, people have to kind of grasp. Let me see if I can explain this to you. A couple of things here. One of the most important things that I've seen in a while, and this is important, is this idea of teaching people, creating new forms of vectors. And one of them is the lionization, the apotheosis of George Floyd. George Floyd was a manufactured, ready to go. It was like a political theater skunk works. It was already in play. It was already ready to go. You understand what I'm saying? Let me put it to you this way. Right now, as we speak, there is an organization. They are ready for the next police killing. Some black guy, young, maybe unarmed, I don't know. Or maybe, it doesn't matter, is going to be killed by the police. It's going to happen. And the reason why is because social media keep promoting with all these badge and these various what am I saying? These kind of like badge cam surveillance things. They're creating this thing, which is critical, which implores people to continuously fight and to challenge the police. Always. Okay. By the way, Trayvon Martin was a part setting the stage for George Floyd. I think you're right, Hot Pocket. It kind of like was like a dress rehearsal. But as we speak, they are ready to go. They get Ben Crump. They get Ben, who, bless his heart, just is indecipherable. They bring Ben Crump up there. He's the target. He's the you bring him up. He's the front and center guy. Used to be Sharpton, but no good. He's the guy. And you have this organization, that organ. Everybody's ready to go. Black Lives Matter. You've got folks. And by the way, Antifa was never prosecuted, never investigated one time in terms of any kind of a RICO or racketeering investigation, because what they are is basically modern day urban terrorism. That's all. Anyway, it's almost like and you've always, we had that Einsatz group, and the death squads, and I'm not saying they're a death squad, but there's always been, since the beginning of time, these groups of people who are ready to just sit back and just, I don't know what the word is. They're just there, and they're very, very easy to cull and to pull together. And just like we had during Atpor was with the Occupy Wall Street, there are groups of people. Let me explain this. We did this in the Maidan. We did this in the orchestrated coup. There are people you can go to that says, listen, I'm looking for a coup. I'm looking for, can we hire you? Absolutely. Groups of people ready to go. Do you have the bus schedules? If I have to tomorrow, let's say there's a young black man who tragically is killed by the police, unless you assume for the sake of argument, it's the police were wrong. We will have buses show up in one day, white buses. They'll get box lunches and pizza. We'll have a banner made for you. We'll have something a la Black Lives Matter is like Shinola. Get rid of that as a name. We'll get that out of the way. We will have, I'll show you how to move. We'll have songs. We'll have if you watch how it's done in Europe, they have these devices where they would pound the ground in unison, and it was really something we'll have either. We might want to get away from the Antifa look, with the helmets, but we might do that again. Maybe they'll wear something, but we'll have them corralled. We will take care of everything. You don't know how to do this. We're ready to go. We have this ready to go. Just call us, pay us. You'll never be able to, there's no checks cash, but make sure a certain Bitcoin is deposited elsewhere, wherever it is. And I'm telling you, you will go crazy. During George Floyd, I'll never forget, on 11th Avenue, up in the West Side, Hell's Kitchen, they have all these high-end car dealers. Lamborghini, Bugatti, this and that, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, name it, up the street. And one of them in particular had the showrooms. This is very interesting. They had showrooms. All of a sudden, without anybody saying anything, all the cars were gone. Remember when the plywood paneling went up? It's like they knew. This is ready to go. Did Merrick Garland ever investigate this? No. Does anybody understand these clandestine groups of people who always seem to be there whenever there's a problem? No. Trump has got to come out and tell you ahead of time when this is happening. And he also must understand the notion of free speech. And free speech is critical, even in companies formally working 24/7, putting out the best products, like, for example, pillows and slippers and the like. even they're subject to draconian limits. Who am I talking about? All right, my friend. It's time to hail and salute our great friends at mypillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you get a free gift. No purchase necessary. I know, a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But listen carefully. What are we talking about? Giza Dream Bed Sheets, My Pillow 2.0, sheets, slippers, percales, towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, name it. Items to help you luxuriate and relax. Think about it. And they're monster sellers right now. Listen to me. Slippers. My slippers. Think about it. What do they do with My Pillow? They make things real soft and plush and comfy. How perfect. And when they apply that genius to slippers, look out. Look out. Look at the specials right now, but only if you use promo code Lionel. So go to mypillow.com/Lionel. Solid disproverbial. mypillow.com/Lionel or call 800-645-4965. Call right now and watch how fast Mike answers the phone. mypillow.com, the best. All right, dear friends, let me remind you, I have two very important links for Mrs. L right here. One is her YouTube channel, which I implore you to sign up for, and the second is her Twitter as well. I have them. Ooh, let me do this again. I have them too close to each other. Let me do this. Let me try it this way. There we go. Here is the first one. This is her YouTube channel, and this is her Twitter. Listen to her Derek Maltz interview, one of the best ever. Let me give you this for you. Let me give you this right now. Absolutely critical. I just did that. Okay, hang on a minute. YouTube. Listen to this. Just a second. Here we go. Yes. Just a second. Here we go. Yes, this is the Derek Maltz interview. One of the most important. Here we go. Watch this one and be ready to have your mind blown. Just watch this. And it's long form. It's critical. You must go through not these 1 minute Fox News hit or misses. Hi, and now let's go to our friend on the courtyard playing pickleball or whatever. No. This is serious stuff. One more time. Watch this YouTube. It's the most important. All right, dear friends, that's it. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it immensely. Sparky, I thank you. Edge Dweller and Barry Taylor, thank you so much for your kindness and your courtesy and your contributions and the like. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't forget, as we always, subscribe. Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. I can't tell you how important that is. And also, remember this. As we always say, dear friend, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Ta-ta.